like, oh, emojis. I actually like emojis. I will use them with my friends, with my coworkers, and I'll even use them with stakeholders, some stakeholders outside of my organization. And most of the time it goes okay, but there have been some instances that just resulted in miscommunication. So this is where we come to our next exercise. So much participation, y'all. I'm going to put up a couple of different emojis up there one at a time, and I want you to just yell out what you think they mean. And then I'll give you the context of how it was sent or received. Okay, so remember, there's no right or wrong answer. There's just a whole people out on the web that's going to judge you. That's good. Confused, okay. Anybody else?
Unsure.
Unsure.
Annoyed.
Okay. Annoyed, okay.
Drunk.
Drunk, okay. All right, I love it, I love it. So, this was something that I sent my sister when she asked me how my day was going. And it was like, I was at work, I had so many irons in the fire, and I was just feeling like, ugh. And so I thought that face conveyed it. So her response was, "You're getting day drunk? I thought you had work today." And it was followed like, shortly after, like, "I'll be there in 15 minutes. No, Kristen, no. Just very busy. And with that theme, what about this one? Celebrate. Okay, so I'm not crazy. All right, because that's actually what I had intended for this, thinking, oh gosh, that's pretty universal. I had sent this to a colleague after she shared a personal victory, like, hey, let's celebrate, like, you're awesome. Well, I didn't realize at the time, because I didn't know her that well, we're much better friends now, but I didn't realize that she doesn't drink. And the reason that she doesn't drink is because she had a very traumatic childhood and suffered abuse at the hands of her alcoholic father. So she does not equate this symbol to any type of celebratory or joyous occasion. And thank goodness she's just wonderful and forgiving and a great human being. But so we got past it. Okay, what about that?
Voila.
Voila!
Yeah, I'm Italian.
Yeah, I know, like, yeah, come on now. Okay, I did the same thing. I'm like, maybe it's because we're all like in the same generation. I don't know, but I'm like, oh, thank gosh, it's not me. So I actually sent that one to my niece, and it was like, and he's gonna school you in the ways of the world, you know, like that type of thing. And her response was like, oh, I love you more. I was like, what in the world? So apparently, yeah, I'm like, there is a major generational disconnect. So apparently there is a K-pop star that makes this motion, and it's like a dumpling or something, and it means I love you. I still don't get it, but you know, anyway. It added to the presentation. That's what I'm going with, right? Okay. All right, what about this one? Poison. Death, poison. Okay. So I received this response after an admittedly sarcastic quip that I sent to a friend. And his background is in funeral services, so I was like, oh my God, is he flirting with me? Like, I don't even know. No, it was his way of like showing laughter, because it was like he thought what I said was funny. Like, it's so funny, I'm dying. You know, I was like, oh, okay, cool. All right, what about this one?
Scarecrow?
Scarecrow?
Wizard.
It is a wizard, yeah. Okay, I'll just go for it. So, I actually received this one in response. A friend sent me that after I gave some, what I thought was amazing advice. And I thought he was like, oh, you're just a wizard when it comes to providing solutions. No, it was him telling me that I was living in a fantasy land. And it was magic and it wasn't going to work. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. All right, what about this one?
Blah.
Blah.
Yeah. Just want to disappear.
Just want to disappear, or you're feeling unseen. And that's actually what it meant in this context. A girlfriend sent me a very, very involved text with a lot of detail and a lot of emotion. And I will admit that I didn't really understand how to unpack all that she shared, so I just kind of sent a heart. And then her way was to respond with just an emoji. That was that, and that was her way of telling me that she felt brushed off and unseen. And I was like, oh, he's sending me a heart, I'm going to send you. We're cool now, don't worry, because I know you were. So, yeah, well, thank you so much for engaging that little fun activity. Let's bring it back into the real world. Got 10 minutes left, perfect. Okay, so we are going to talk about personal space. Now, according to American anthropologist Edward Hall, what is considered intimate distance ranges anywhere between 6 to 18 inches, and then personal distance is 1.5 to 4 feet. Now, with what Heather was sharing in her amazing talk, I'm curious, how, well, one, do you find yourself within this intimate or personal distance with your families at all? Do you ever find yourself in this space? Seeing some head nods. Okay, so how often would you say, and I know every family is going to be different. There's some of those like full frontal huggers that just want more, and then there's others like, not so much. But how often would you say you spend time in this space with people? 30% of the time, 50% of the time, 90, 80, 10, 75? Okay. 75? Okay. I think that in itself, I'm not surprised by that, but I also think it's extremely telling, because the intimate and personal distance, according to this anthropologist, this is reserved for our most trusted and long-term relationships. So the fact that your families are literally inviting you into the inner circle, that's extremely telling. Now, for those who are invading space, they haven't been invited, but they're encroaching upon that personal space bubble. According to Robert Sommer, the psychologist, he says that we have a tendency to use an adaptation called dehumanization, where we basically imagine that whomever is encroaching upon that space as inanimate. And I'm not going to spend too much time here, because I don't think in your roles as funeral professionals, this is something more applicable to like healthcare, when we're kind of having to invade somebody's space for the nature of patient care. But it is good to be mindful that this is an adaptation we often lean into. And then by understanding that, we can be more conscientious of how it's affecting our ability to connect with those we serve. All right, posture and positioning, moving right along. So this does play a large role in how we view people and how we are viewed. Now, there are a lot of resources out there that basically give you advice on how to use posture to your advantage. And they're usually, or I'd say the majority that I have found are based in the context of negotiations or job interviews. Unfortunately, those hacks don't always work, because if we're not feeling something, if we're not truly feeling something and we're trying to project a different emotion, we will send mixed signals, and it just comes across as a little more awkward. Now, that's not to say that we have no control over the messages that we send. For example, if we're in conflict with somebody, we can make the conscious effort to avoid crossing our arms, tapping our foot, avoiding eye contact. And we don't have to like or even agree with what's being said, but by maintaining an open stance, you keep the other person from acting defensively, which can help you gain that common understanding and increase the efficacy of your communication. Okay. All right, moving on to facial expressions. Now, just as I referenced, there's a lot of resources available to talk about posture and positioning. There are a ton. There's so much information on facial expressions, like it's ridiculous. There is a whole field of study called oculesics that is devoted to eye contact. Like, we could spend an hour talking about eye contact. It wouldn't be a fun presentation, but it is doable, let me tell you, with all of these studies. There's anywhere between like 3 to 19 different smiles if you Google it, ranging from like, oh, to, ugh. So instead of going down the rabbit hole, we're going to kind of keep it on a broad view and starting with universal expressions. So universal expressions, this idea was first suggested by, I don't know, you might have heard of him. His name's Charles Darwin. He proposed this in conjunction with his theories on evolution. And he believed that expressions, facial expressions, and and the emotions that they displayed were biologically innate and adaptable. Now, his theory wasn't proven until the 1970s when scientists found the existence of 7 universal expressions. And so those are joy, fear, surprise, sadness, disgust, contempt, and anger. And these expressions were recognized cross-culturally very consistently. And what's even more interesting is that congenitally blind people have the same reactions as sighted people when spontaneously stimulated. And this might be why if somebody has questions about the validity of our sincerity, they will look to our face for confirmation. And we can try to keep our faces impassive and calm, but if we're not feeling that way, if our true feelings conflict with what we're trying to project, artistry could reveal itself through micro-expressions. And micro-expressions emerge when we're trying to repress emotions. Now, they only last 1/30th of a second, so they're really hard to detect in real time, but we do detect them, right? And they often reveal what's behind that poker face. So essentially, if we're trying to speak genuinely and, from a place of calm authenticity, the best way to do so is to try to get yourself to be in a space where you can feel calm and authentic. And is that always easy? Absolutely not, especially if you are in extremely stressful situations. So we'll move on here. I'm a little over time, try to wrap it up. Let's talk about some centering techniques that can be used to sort of regather our attention, recenter ourselves so we can be more present and attuned with others. The GRACE model is a useful acronym that can help us slow down so we're just better able to attune. And it's really possible to use this in your everyday interactions. So the G's for gathering your attention. Pause, take a breath, get grounded, and bringing your attention to your body. Then you recall your intention. Ask yourself why you were called to this profession. What is your moral compass? Where is it directing you to go? What is your gut telling you is the right course of action? The next, we ask that you attune yourself to others, to yourself and to others. What sensations are you feeling in your body? What are you thinking? How are you feeling? And then take it one step further and consider how the other person might be experiencing you. Consider what will serve. Now, as the encounter unfolds, notice what the other person might be offering in the moment. And then ask yourself, can I lean into my own knowledge and experiences while still allowing space and receptivity to looking at things in a new way? Finally, engaging and ending, recognizing when an encounter is over. And it can be simple as marking your attention to your breath, just taking a breath in and letting it out. Or you can actually implement an exit routine. So washing hands is a really common example within healthcare, but it can be used beyond any vocation because it's more than just about washing away contaminants. It can be a reminder that we need to wash away the emotional residue that might be left over from this encounter before we're able to be present with somebody during our next interaction. And it doesn't just, it can be anything. It can be cleaning instruments. It can be closing a file after meeting with a family, like, kind of just that action of this portion is over. A huddle or a phone call after work as to not take the burden home. Or it could even be the commute home. I was speaking with a coroner who actually moved his family out into the country because he said, I needed time between being in somebody's living room and assessing the death of their loved one and then being within my room, my living room, with my daughters and my wife. I needed that time to sort of switch my brain from work mode to dad mode. So it's whatever works for you. So I'll end you with these thoughts. Being conscious of our communication style with others is a skill of respect and compassion. We all impact one another by the words we choose, how we share our voice, the effort we make to listen with the intent to understand, and the awareness we bring to what is being expressed through body language. As Rumi said so eloquently, listen with ears of tolerance, see through eyes of compassion, speak with the language of love. I appreciate your time. Thank you all so much for allowing me to share this presentation with you. And we're done.
You won't want to talk for a while.
I know, I'm like, Teresa, have you met me? No. I'm like, Rob and I got a very eventful ride home. Oh, I also want to point out, this is something that Heather distributed. I was like, oh, this is awesome. So I didn't bring any here, but this totally ties into the topic. So thank you, Heather, for reading my mind, even though you didn't know it was something you were going to do. You're amazing.
Okay, well, we did it. We got through our very first ever professional women's conference. And so thank you for braving the weather to come out. I got to tell you, outside it's beautiful. A little chilly, but still pretty. For those of you online, sorry, we kind of ran out of batteries, so we had to switch the cameras out. So you might have missed a few minutes, but I'm sure Erika will be happy to come and tell you everything you missed. At this point, we got some raffle items that were donated by Rural Chapel over in Port Orchard. And everybody that came here, plus everybody that's online, everybody that's registered, has a ticket in the raffle. So you have a chance to win this setup that they brought us. And so I'm going to ask Donna if you come up and pick one of these tickets. Now, if you're not here and you win, I will tell you in about 2 weeks is our district meetings. And they will be, we're traveling all over the state. We want you to come out and be a part of it. If you're not here, we'll bring that to you and go from there. Did you win it?
No.
Oh. Okay, that would have been kind of rigged, but that's all right. So, Donna, whose ticket did you pull?
I have 511863.
Is there a name on it?
No.
Who is it?
It's
Toby. All right, Toby. Toby, this is all for you on behalf of Real Chapel. So now we don't have to carry it with us up to the Northwest District.
Perfect.
Thank you for that.
You have to put all the items in your dignity bag because we need the basket bag.
okay.
That's right. Yeah. Got it. You can't take the basket.
Okay.
I want to say thank you to a number of people, and one to our speakers. Jacob, who is still stuck, I just got a message from him, he's still stuck in Savannah. They're still having bad rainstorms and thunderstorms, so his plane was delayed from yesterday through today, and it's still delayed for at least another 5 hours, so we don't know when he's going to get here. I want to say thank you to Heather, who's become a friend of mine over the last couple of years. She's done a couple podcasts with us, and she came up from Boise, Idaho, to be a part of this. So thank you so much, Heather, for coming up. I also want to say thank you to Erika, who I've known for a little while and had the experience of riding over today with her. She talked my ear off, so I'm surprised that she was able to get through this presentation.
How you met me?
Thank you. That was a great presentation. I especially want to thank Jamin and the team at Brookside Funeral Home for letting us invade their space, come in and tear it up with the leftover food. And it's all going to Donna because she has to leave tomorrow, so she's got to fill that in her refrigerator. But if you want some food, take it. There's lots left over, so take that. I do want to say to Donna, thank you very much for being our MC. And as I said, she is leaving. She's getting ready to go on a plane. And what everybody needs on a plane is a book to read. And so this is a book from a guy by the name of Cody Schuin, who was our keynote speaker at our convention. He's a great funeral director. For those of you that came to convention got to hear him. This is for you. So you have something to read on the plane. And these flowers we bought specifically for you to say thank you for being our MC. They probably won't last when you get back, but hopefully.
Do you put them on my desk? Yeah.
So again, thank you all for coming. Those of you that are online, thank you for watching. I do have all your emails, so I will be, probably not today, it'll probably be sometime early next week, sending out certificates of attendance. Today's meeting is actually worth 4 CEU hours. So you, at this point, if you're relicensing, you really only need your OSHA class and you're good to go for another year. But that doesn't preclude that we do want you, I should say, to come to the district meeting. So check those out, come be a part of them. So thanks everybody, drive home safely.
Thank you.
Bye.